Shalom everybody, hope you're doing well. Hope your week was great. Ready for Shabbat, Parshat Shemot. Here we are, the second book of the Torah, the second of the 5 books, starting with the beginning of the exile of the Jewish people, of Am Yisrael, of Bnei Yisrael, in Mitzrayim, in the land of Egypt, and the whole unfolding of the story that continues from there. And one of the aspects that we see in this week's Torah portion is we're introduced to Moshe, and we begin with the story of his birth and his being saved at the hand of the daughter of Paro. And he grows up in the king's palace, and he takes a wife eventually, and he will have children. And he has children with this wife who he meets and lives with in somewhat of an exile from where he was coming from before as a result of certain events. And one of the names of his sons, one of the sons he calls Gershom. And the pasuk says, the verse says, "V'yikra et shemo Gershom, ki amar ger hayiti be'eretz nochia." And he says, I'm calling my son Gershom because I was a stranger in this strange land. I was kind of like someone passing through in this land, not of my own. And so the question is asked by the Bala Sulam, what kind of positive anything is there to be found in this name? If it's being connected to this idea that you were a stranger, that you were an other, that you were different, why would you name your son this? We're used to giving children names of positivity, of something constructive, of something to look up to strive to. So what is it in this name that Moshe finds so inspiring that he names his son this name Gershom? So the Bala Sulam continues and explains like this, that the beginning of a person's relationship with the divine, with the Creator, with God, choose the name that fits best for you. One of the first things, if not the very first thing that needs to happen in order to create that relationship, build that relationship, and recognize that relationship is the distance that exists between us and the Infinite One. Right? Strengthening his own question, the Bala Sulam says this name Gershom is the lashon, is the language of gerush, of exile, of being pushed away, of being taken away. Again, what's the beauty in that? What's the positivity in that? But it can be a very powerful force actually in our lives, and specifically in our own spiritual path and spiritual development. When we recognize that on some level we're experiencing this idea of gerush, of exile, of separation, of farness from the source, from the Creator. So that already creates the opening, creates the path, opens up the door for getting close. When we recognize that we are actually far away, that there is actual distance between us and the source of life, between us and God, between us and who we want to become and who we can become, that already creates the potential and the possibility of achieving that. If we think we're already there, so there's nowhere to go, right? If we think that we've already accomplished and we've already reached our level, so then there's nothing to talk about. But if we feel the pain of the separation, if we feel the pain of the distance, so already there's something to talk about. There's already a spiritual path on which to walk. And that, the Bala Sulam is saying, is the beauty of this name Gershom that Moshe names his kid. I'm in exile. I'm far away, but I want to come close. But before I can even start taking my first steps of coming close, I need to recognize that distance. I need to recognize that I'm far away, that I'm not where I want to be. And with that understanding, that knowing, the ratzon, the desire, the will is born to come so close. Later in the story that we're learning, the Torah says that God says to Moshe, "Bo el Paro," right? "Bo el Paro," come to Paro. This idea of come is already a language of I'm going with you. Right? You're not going alone. Right? Because Moshe knows already from the beginning of his relationship with God, I can't do this. I'm not a person who speaks very well, he says. I can't go to Paro. I can't lead the Jewish people. Who am I? And God is saying to him, don't worry, I'm going to be with you every step of the way. Bo el Paro, come to Paro with me. Come into this experience with me. Come on this journey with me. We're going to do this together. We're going to create relationship. And you, Moshe, recognizing with all your humility, because of your humility, that you're so far away, that who am I to do any of this? Already that gives birth, once again, to the possibility, to the potential of this reality actually becoming a reality. So we should take this lesson and bring it into our lives and really not be beaten down by the distance that we see between us and our goals, and between us and God, and between us and the source of all things, but be inspired. Say, wow, I have so many steps which to take, and every step is bringing me closer and closer and closer to feeling that relationship, to being in that relationship, and becoming who I need to and want to become. Blessings and love and blessings from the land of Israel. Shabbat Shalom.